Ever feel like there's a new AI tool every time you blink, and somehow you're supposed to know which one is the best? ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Perplexity. It's getting a little out of hand. Today, we're cutting through the noise and answering the question every entrepreneur and team leader is asking. Which AI tool should I actually be using? Welcome to Accelerating Humans, where we help you stay human in a world that won't stop accelerating. We're your hosts, Julianna Fracconi and Bert Carroll, two consultants who live at the intersection of tech, empathy, and real-world strategy. In this episode, we're unpacking one of the biggest questions we get right now. Do you really need all these AI tools, or just the right one used the right way? We'll talk about when to use ChatGPT versus Claude, why your tech stack might already be smarter than you think, and how to stop chasing every new app like it's the secret to success. Because clarity doesn't come from more tools. It comes from understanding what actually works for you. Now let's get into it. Good morning, Bert.
Good morning. How are you this morning, Juliana?
I'm good. I come with a really interesting question that someone asked me. And I love when people ask me questions because then I'm like, oh, I can make a podcast out of this.
Good.
But this woman, she's a solopreneur. She owns a
Okay.
photography business. And she asked me, she goes, when should I be using each AI tool, popular AI tool? Her comment was more like, oh, I've been using ChatGPT, but someone told me I need to be using Gemini for something else instead.
Right.
And my advice was use what you have and you'll be fine. But it does open up a bigger question, similar to, I think, any technology. Certain AI tools are going to be better for certain things. So what is your take? Like, when should you use other popular, some popular AI tool versus, the competitor or another one?
Okay. This is a great question. And I started with, I know the answer to this. And then Google, what the heck, man? So I go and so doing a little bit of research on this, which when I say research, anybody can do this. It's a 5-minute search. I think that your answer to her was pretty good. I tend to follow the 80-20 rule. If I can use 20% of the effort and get 80% of the result, I'm going to do that. So if you already have it and it's already available to you, that's probably the one you should use. But, and this is where the rabbit hole starts, I did a search using various AIs and I said, what are your competitors? And what are the AIs are out there? And I'm looking right now, and the ones that everybody's heard of, ChatGPT, GPT-4, then I've got Sonnet 4.5 with Claude. I've got Gemini Advanced for Google. I've got DeepSeek, which is the Chinese entrance that everybody freaked out about a couple of months ago. I've got Perplexity, and I currently use on a regular basis ChatGPT, Claude, and Perplexity a lot. I also go ahead.
So that's why I really wanted to ask you this question, because you're someone that you bop around to different tools.
Oh,
you
yeah.
use different things. And that's what I'm curious about is why are you choosing to use Claude, for example, when it comes to our website
Sure.
versus ChatGPT when it comes to helping us with copy for certain things? Like, what is your differentiator?
Well, that's really where it gets interesting, because I do think that some of them have differentiated themselves to be better at certain things than others. And for me, my preference for coding, for working in a IDE, is using Claude because it sits right there. I use Claude Code extensively. I pay for it. And frankly, I pay for most of these AIs at this point because it's my business. But
Yeah.
I think most people aren't going to go and say, I'm going to spend a couple $100 a month on AI either.
Right.
But because I'm using it extensively for my work, I do. I use Claude Code a lot. I use ChatGPT a lot. I use Grok because I can talk to it in my car. I use, it's crazy. All of these things have different use cases for me. So which ones do I actually want to have a conversation with voice? Which ones do I want to type to? Which ones do I want to code with? And when I'm looking into this, I got a list here, Juliana, and I am like, some of this crap I've never heard of. And I was like, I want to look at that. I got to be careful because this is a rabbit hole and I've got crap I need to get done today. I got to ship product, man. So, I'm looking, I've had conversations with my wife and my brother, who are both professors, about how do I make sure that I have academic rigor in my references? How do I make sure that the stuff my students are presenting to me are actually based on real documents as opposed to crap that's been made up by AI, the AI fluff. So apparently I've used Notebook LM a lot, which is basically I can create my own RAG, my retrieval augmented generation site. So I say, only answer questions from this stuff. Man, that's cool. If I dump a bunch of documents in that thing and I say, answer questions about this document, Notebook LM, you probably already have access to. It's really powerful. That's a cool tool.
Yep.
But there's apparently this tool called Elicit, one called Consensus, one called Cite. And all of these are looking at academic literature, medical and scientific questions, fact-checking scientific claims. And then there's these other tools that are out there that are aggregators that try to pull a bunch of AIs together, have you pay one fee, and then assume that you're not going to use it so they can keep, it's like a multi-level marketing thing. People keep paying for it and they don't have to burn tokens. So I've got this one that I paid for that my brother-in-law told me about called 1 Minute AI, and it aggregates like 30 different tools. And
wow.
I can ask a question and then it can choose which model to use. But there's also one called, there's an AI for that. There's one called Futurepedia, AI Tool Hunt. And then going in, and again, I feel like I've got this like huge list and I don't know which one to choose. And my wife has a saying that is too many pens. And I'm a guy that collects fountain pens. And she's like, yeah, I do have a lot of pens. And sometimes I have to choose which one to use. And sometimes it's harder than it should be. A person with one pen knows which pen they're going to use.
But that's, that's really why I wanted to ask and discuss this question today, is because the average person has all these AI options to choose, and which one should they go with? And does it even matter?
A little bit more than you think, but not as much as you think. Does that make sense? All right. So hear me out. Okay. There are times when I want to write something that's compelling. And a lot of times I'm going to use ChatGPT for that because I think it does a pretty good job. I've trained it in my voice and it's able to speak the way I want it to. I feel like I have less iterations with it when I'm trying to write something than I do with some of these other tools. Claude and ChatGPT are about the same level for that, but because I use Claude so much for other stuff, I want to preserve my tokens, so I use ChatGPT. I like it for that. So I think that everybody needs to look at their tech stack. Remember when we talked about Frankenstacks?
Yep.
I think you need to say, okay, what am I actually trying to solve for? Am I solving for writing? Am I solving for coding? Am I solving for images? Am I solving for video? And then you choose the tool that you have access to, or that your company allows you to have access to. And, you get the best you can for what you have. For images, I tend to use Midjourney because I think it does a better job. I have messed around with Google and with ChatGPT and with Claude, and sometimes I feel like it's an idiot when it comes to pictures. And it's bad. It's so bad. And
I will say this on a little side tangent here. I've asked ChatGPT to take a photo, for example, and then remove the background, and it'll be a photo of me, just because I wanted to play around with it. And it comes back, and I'm like, okay, that's not me. Like, you changed my face. I asked for the background to go from blue to green, or for you to change the color of the bow in my hair, and now I have different eyebrows. Okay.
It does that. It's weird. It's a helper, and I'll give you an example of this in a few minutes. But the one that is one of the ones I see that's coming up right now is that, and AI is always funny this way, but there's one called Nano Banana, which is
Okay.
Google's image thing, and people are like, "Oh, this is great! It competes with Midjourney," and so now I have to go and try a new tool. But oh my gosh, it's you have to look out for the hallucination. With pictures, it's terrible. It's if I want to add text to an image, all of them seem to struggle with that, and I have to go through multiple iterations for it. I had
So,
go ahead.
do you think that something like a Sora, so that's ChatGPT's like a Sora, do you think that using like a Sora for your video or a Sora for your images, you're going to get more accurate output than if you were just to be uploading it to a like Chat 5?
Yes, the question is how much is it, and it's always a cost benefit analysis that you have to run for yourself. Are you willing to pay for another tool or learn another tool in
Hmm.
order to get the benefit of X percentage additional quality?
Hmm. Okay. But anyway, so then what tools are really, would you recommend? Because I am I'm bad in that I've used all the tools, but I just keep it simple. I just keep it simple because I could use AI to code, but I have no desire to do that, especially
Hmm.
when I have you.
Hey,
But
I mean,
but I mean, I use AI tools like when we edit the podcast, I have specific
yeah.
AI tools. So I have like my own set of product specific, which we could also go down that route if we want about talking about product specific AI. But for just someone who's starting out and is like, whoa, I keep hearing about this new AI tool and this one and this one and this one, and I don't get want to get left behind. Like, what's the one that they should be using, or when should they be using that one? Is the better question.
So I have this problem where I over research,
Hmm.
and if I want to choose something, I'm very particular about the sort of things that I own and the sort of kit that I carry.
Okay.
And if you want to go down a rabbit hole, look up EDC. And some people are into that sort of thing. It's called everyday carry. It's like, what do you carry every day? What's your tool set?
Yeah.
And I think that for my purposes, the tools that work the best are, again, the coding tools that I use, which are the Claude code, which I use that extensively. And I use it with Microsoft's VS Code, which is a free
Hmm.
tool. And then I use ChatGPT quite a lot for the spoken language stuff. And I'm not doing as much with the images right now. But when I do choose to do generative images, I'm using Midjourney, and then I'm using Canva's AI if I want to, say, remove a
Mm,
background or if I want to work with a logo or something. So this
yeah.
is what is my specific tool set. My specific tool set is built around trying to solve business problems and trying to build stuff. So building stuff with code, Claude, talking about what I'm going to do, planning, ChatGPT, actually working with images, Canva, and their stuff, and then actually generating the images, Midjourney. So that's very tight very
Mm.
tight AI set. That is subject to change because they're all evolving at a rapid pace. But I pay money for all of these tools.
Yeah. I honestly love that you mentioned Canva
Mm-hmm.
because I think that for a lot of the people that I interact with, which is female solopreneurs, or female small business owners, there is this idea of like, oh, how can I use AI? What are these big scary tools? But a lot of them are using Canva
They're already
already.
using it.
And Canva has a AI feature that maybe they are interacting or maybe they aren't interacting. And then I also believe that, especially like this question that started this whole conversation was asked to me, I think a lot of it is the fear that if you're not using it now, you're going to get left behind. And you think that asking Canva to generate an image or asking Canva to remove a background or to pull a person out of a photo or change the shirt color is not really using AI effectively, because they think that, okay, every single person human has to be using AI, and it has to be more than like I'm just opening up ChatGPT and asking it a question and having a conversation with it.
Yeah.
Or it's more than just, oh, I'm asking Canva to change the color of a shirt. Or I'm opening up a Google Doc and saying like, hey, Google, can you compare or do a count of how many lemons are in this worksheet?
hmm Well,
Um,
I mean, it's a question of what are you actually trying to accomplish? And the
mhm.
thing that is so powerful about it is if it feels effortless, but it's a complicated task, AI is doing a great job
Mhm.
because there's so many things that if I had to go and change the color of that shirt, if I go back a couple of technology, a couple of
Yeah.
generations of technology, how would you change the color of someone's shirt in a movie? You give them a new damn shirt. Here, go put this on, and
But
we have to reshoot it. Now
yeah,
and
but
then,
even not even going that far back, I
yeah,
mean, to change the color digitally frame by frame by frame, or to have a picture and to try to cut the person out, you needed Photoshop, and you really needed to have the skill
exactly.
to and the patience and the talent to get every, strand of hair that was coming out. And now like Canva just does it for you.
So this is the human aspect that we talk about right now. I think that where people need to hone their capabilities is make sure that your judgment is good.
Mm,
What is going to actually solve the problem that I'm trying to solve? So you need to understand what you're trying to solve, and you need to understand what good enough is.
right.
So I'm
Yeah.
trying to change the color of the shirt. Does this look good enough? Is it going to hurt my brand if I put this out there? You
Like your
know,
like your AI models who are showing up on the magazine with extra fingers and
I
missing
mean,
elbows.
it's a thing. And, we talk about it right now, AI fluff or AI.
Mhm.
There's a couple of different ways that people describe it. But if you've got junk out there that is junk, and then its signal to noise ratio is low, so you don't have a lot of value and you have a lot of dross around it, this is a problem. I can look at content that's generated right now, and I think that where a person is going to be very good is I'm able to encapsulate complicated ideas into something that's consumable to a person without using a lot of words. And with I feel like it is very compelled to use all of the words. It's happy to give you all the words, and it will wrap it in consultant speak.
Hmm.
But that's
Yeah.
what people want. The reason they would listen to this is I want straight advice. What should I do?
Hmm. Right. Which really, the advice to this is any tool really works.
If you have it, use
If
it.
you if you if you have it, use it. Do you think that every person should pay for at least one AI tool?
You probably already are. You might not know it, but you probably already are. So either you're paying for it, or the company that you work for is paying for it, or it's bundled with your phone, or it's bundled with some service that you're using. If you're using Gmail, for example, and you've got all of the Google stuff, they're selling your information because that's how they get their money. So you're paying for it one way. It's just abstracted.
Hmm.
The question is, which one do you choose to use? Which ones do you have available to you? The primary models out there, again, ChatGPT that everybody's heard about, does a pretty good job. Gemini,
Hmm.
which is widely available, does a pretty good job. Claude does a pretty good job. These tools are out there. You can use them. And I think that, staying on the fence and being afraid to start is hurting you more than actually engaging with it,
Mm,
and then really helping you define what your use cases are. How do I
right.
use this? What do I get out of it? the way that you do work is very different from the way that I do work, but
Very
both
true.
of them are valuable.
Yeah. So really, there is no difference amongst the AI tools unless it is an AI found inside a specific product.
Well, Zoom has an AI. Microsoft has AIs embedded. A lot of those AIs are actually wrappers for other ones. So you're probably using the wrapper for ChatGPT or from the Anthropic Claude somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
So it's using the APIs on the back end.
So then again, it kind of is like, well, do you need a Gemini, or do you need a ChatGPT to summarize your meetings if you already have Zoom
Well,
and Zoom is
it's
doing it?
it's using one of those to do it. And the question that you have to ask yourself is it satisfy my need? Is the fidelity of the recording and the transcription good enough that the decisions that it has made are reasonable, and the outputs that it gives me are reasonable? Are the takeaways and my action items and the people that are captured in the meeting, are those the right people? Are they the right action items? Are they the right decisions that we made? That's a harder question.
So I would almost say, given this information, when someone asks me what should I use, my response is almost like, you need to be using Claude or you need to be using ChatGPT, not just because they're most widely available or depending on the data that's coming out of it, but probably because it is the base of a lot of internal AI tools. And I could see in 2 years from now, um, having a deep knowledge of how Claude or ChatGPT works is
Sure.
going to be hugely beneficial for those who are in large organizations,
Oh, I absolutely.
especially if like your Zoom is running off of one of those, or your word generation in Canva, or even whatever system like a Notion might even be using that to generate it. So if you can understand, like, it's almost like the code in languages.
Well, no. So the cool thing is, like, say Notion, which I love Notion, by the
Mm-hmm.
way, and I've talked about it before. I can choose which model I want to use. It allows me to
Right.
choose in the back end. I just have to know. So if you get better results with one or the other, you can switch it. Um, so it's a question of people in business, humans in business, and just in life in general, are going to have an approach to dealing with AI. How do I prompt
Mm-hmm.
it? How do I interact with it? And you have to ask yourself, are you comfortable with just taking the predefined outputs that it gives you? Which, for example, if it is just an automation task of like, take this information and transcribe it and do this, is going to be a set output. You can't really change it. Versus, okay, I'm going to pull the raw transcript from this. I'm going to reprocess it through the AI that we've trained for our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yep.
when we generate our website, we're running it through an AI to actually pull out the important stuff from this. So it takes the page generation when we publish the each of our podcasts from something that would take a huge amount of time to something that's accomplishable in a reasonable amount of time, and output
Yeah.
a good product.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will say that from the editing to the posting to doing all of it, it takes me longer to download the episode and upload it to YouTube than it
Yeah.
does to actually edit it with our AI tools.
And the same. So I mean, I showed, like, I did this live. I had a talk that I gave a
Mm-hmm.
couple of weeks ago to a bunch of business analysts, and I said, look, guys, who here has built a web page before? And a number of them raised their hand. And what I did is I said, I have the transcript for this, our last podcast. I have the standards that we use across all of our other podcasts and how we publish it. And then I've got the YouTube link. And the prompt is, make the web page in HTML for this podcast. It should include the reference materials that we're going to publish with it, any resources that are available to us, as well as it's going to format in a certain way. It's going to have the transcript laid out in a certain way. It's going to have timestamps, and it's going to have pull out certain quotes and context from the conversation and spit it out as an HTML document. And I had a blank page up, right? And I dropped that prompt in, and within 5 minutes, I said, okay, it's done. I'm putting it in, hit save. And then look at this, hit Control F5, refresh, and the website popped up. And I could see people like, oh my God, what just happened? And well, I mean, it's like, are people going to lose their jobs from this? I'm like, absolutely.
Yeah. But I think that when people are, again, they're going, okay, how do I get this competitive edge? Which one should I use? How can I use this to accelerate my work or accelerate me? Really what it comes down to, or what we've pinpointed to, is you just have to pick one. Pick one and go deep into it.
Here's why. Have you ever started a new hobby?
Yes.
So when you start a new hobby, you think about it, you agitate about it, you get really interested in it, you dig into it, and then you choose your first serious thing. And then you do whatever it is, you get your thing, your first, say if it's mountain biking, or if it's road biking, or if you're working with woodworking, or if you're dealing with fountain pens, or if you're into technology or computers or whatever. You get your first thing. And once you get it and you start using it, you realize it doesn't actually meet all of your needs. It meets most of them, but it doesn't meet all your needs, because as you get deeper into your hobby, you refine your knowledge of it, and you refine your interest, and you say your requirements are going to shift towards a tighter set of requirements, as opposed to the set of requirements that you set initially when you were getting into the hobby. The same thing holds true here. When you start using it for your work, it doesn't really matter which one you use, as long as you use one of the models that's currently available. Get in there, start using it. As you learn more, you're going to start refining your understanding of what's important to you, and that'll give you the information that you need to choose the next tool.
So, because I love a little list.
Yeah.
So 5 things that someone should do by lunch when it comes to their AI. So number 1 is just choose damn AI tool.
Start. I don't care which one.
Commit to one.
Just do one.
Commit to one. We recommend Claude. We recommend ChatGPT. But also, if you're at a company
Gemini,
that uses
Copilot.
Microsoft, there's Copilot. If you have Google, make it Gemini. So that's one thing that you can do.
Start.
Another thing is start. A second thing you can do, create a custom AI. Create a custom AI.
All of the ones you just defined have the ability to do that. Yes, absolutely.
Yes. So you should create a custom AI and figure out the ins and outs of creating some sort of custom AI.
And here's why, because you're going to use this thing to represent you with your voice to accelerate your work. If its output is not your voice, you have taken the important part, you, the human that is the hired person, the job, whatever, you've taken yourself out of it. You have to stay in it. The human has to stay in the loop. You have to remain part of this solution.
Yeah. I'd say third thing, probably start asking it different types of prompts. So start asking it to generate images, start asking it to create some copy for you, start asking it maybe to write some code, or give it an Excel sheet and see how it might format it. Like if you had some sales numbers that you needed put into visuals, just start playing around with it and seeing how well it does, giving you different types of information. Because I think that's how you're going to understand where the natural strengths and the natural limitations of the one that you're choosing is working.
And I love this, because this is a modern problem. We are spoiled because we get a phone and it is pretty well set up to be a good phone. That being said, you have chosen which apps are on it. You have chosen which tools you use. You've chosen where it is on the phone. And anytime you get a new tool, and I'm a woodworker, this is one of the things that I love. I'll go and spend a lot of money on a new tool, and the first thing I do is basically break it by voiding the factory warranty. By I'm gonna use sandpaper to make this part smoother, or I'm gonna sharpen it this way, or I'm gonna add a new bevel or something like that. I'm taking a tool and I'm making it my own, and that is something that a lot of us forget. And it's important. Setting it up and making sure it works for you, for your use case, is critical.
Yeah. I would say fourth thing to do is to see what it naturally integrates with.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of times when we think about, we're just going to use the general level 1 user of ChatGPT, small business owner, they're like, oh, it's going to make me copy. I'm going to put in something and it's going to write me Instagram captions, or it's going to write me a blog post. And I think that once you understand all these different prompts, and you've created a custom AI, to see where it integrates with, because I think that's going to spark a lot of creative ways that you can use AI, is to see how it integrates.
That's so important. I think that the first step is have it and use it, but then figure out what it can do next. There's so many people that write blog posts with AI and don't realize that it can post for them. There's so many people that haven't figured out that they can set out an entire series of blog posts that they're going to make over the course of the next. You can make a campaign, and you can set up make.com, or you can use Zapier, or you can use other internal tools to connect what you've already done to the posting services and cross-post a bunch of other stuff. You can use it for marketing. I'm using it to write my documentation. The question is, are you working with a tool that you're going to then take its output and manually put it in a different place, from copy or paste or from rewriting? If that's the case, that's ripe for automation. So if I have something that it outputs, can I figure out how to get its output immediately into the format that I want to use it in? This is reason why Zoom, and it's the reason why LinkedIn, and it's the reason why all these tools have embedded AIs. They're trying to get you to use their stuff to do stuff on their site right then, to output into a format that can be used right there. Yep. Think about that.
And then I think the fifth thing you should do when diving into a new AI tool before lunch is you need to document, and refine. So you're going to get very into playing with this AI tool, figuring out what it can be done. You need to document how you plan to use it. And then you also, most importantly, need to document the output of it. So these these generative AI tools are going to give you so much information that once you actually start using it and training it and figuring out, like, okay, I'm diving deep into Claude, even though you can have different chats, you're going to ask for, let's say, an update, and the prompt is going to give you everything all over again. Yeah. Or you're going to say, this is great, and then you're going to try to go back 2 weeks later and you're not going to be able to find it. So the last thing out of these 5 things I recommend you do before lunch when diving deep into one of your AI tools is set up a way to save what the outputs are going to be. So figure out that internal organization of what works for you.
I want to hammer that home, because I think you're 100% right. And there's 2 things that I think are important about that last step, that 5. The first is that's where you learn. You have to learn. If you don't learn, you're just borrowing knowledge. The second thing is a big gap in AI right now is that it has limited context. It has limited memory. And that is the technical way of saying that when I talk to it right now, it's not going to remember it in 2 weeks. So if you've done something and it was beautiful, save it, save the prompt. A lot of people people are selling you prompt libraries right now. You can go online and find a bunch of them, and they'll charge you to do it. Figure out how talking to it works for you, and then remember what you asked. And that'll give you great output.
Yeah, well, thank you for today's education, Bert.
Thank you, Julianna.
I'm excited for people to hear this episode. We hope that everyone enjoyed it. And most importantly, I hope that they are following us and listen to our opening and closing to find out where they can learn more about all this cool stuff that we talk about.
Yep. Check out our website. Make sure that you follow us on LinkedIn. We're starting to get ourselves enmeshed in other socials. So Julianna will tell you more about that than me.
Yeah. I hate TikTok and I can't figure out any of the algorithms. But that's for another day. All right. Bye, Bert.
Thanks, Julianna. Talk to you later.
Bye.